If you're like most people, you might be making these 3 big mistakes in your virtual English meetings. These mistakes can leave you feeling very frustrated and even invisible. Hello everyone, my name's Carrie. I spent 13 years as a conference interpreter working with leaders like Warren Buffett and Ray Dalio and top organizations like the UN and Goldman Sachs. Now I coach Chinese professionals to improve their English communication and build confidence at work. After sitting through thousands of meetings, I've seen so many Chinese professionals fall into these traps. Honestly, it stressed me out because these mistakes are very damaging. But here's the good news. These mistakes are super easy to fix. Some of them can be corrected with just 1 minute, and the impact on your English communication can be huge. Mistake number 1, not turning on your camera during online English meetings. Here are some of the excuses I heard from people who keep their cameras off. Carrie, most people don't turn it on, so why should I? My background is so messy, I feel so embarrassed. No one asked me to turn it on, so I don't have to turn it on. I've been there, so I understand all of these excuses. But let me tell you the 2 real reasons you don't turn on your camera. First, you don't understand how much it matters. Second, you are not in the habit of turning on your camera. Let's take a look at number 1. You don't know how much it matters to turn on your camera. Here's the thing. Turning off your camera drops your communication effectiveness by at least 70%. There is a very famous communication principle that says 55% of communication is body language, 38% is tone, and only 7% is what you say. So without your camera on, people are missing a huge part of your message. I had a student who was complimenting somebody on a virtual meeting. She was saying something nice, but because her camera was off and her tone was a little bit off, and the other person thought she was being sarcastic. The other thing you have to understand is that people can understand you better when they can see you. I hear this all the time. Oh, Carrie, my tone is bad. Oh, Carrie, I need to work on my grammar. Oh, Carrie, my pronunciation is not good enough. That's exactly why you need to turn on your camera. If your English is already slightly shaky and has a lot of issues, people use your facial expression, your body language, and even your mouth movement to understand you. The second real reason that you don't turn on your camera is that you don't have the habit of turning on the camera. I get it. Turning on the camera can be a little bit nerve-wracking, but honestly, it's just a habit you have to build. In my classes, everybody has to turn on their camera. It feels a little bit weird at first, but after a few times, it becomes second nature, and you just automatically turn on the camera and you don't think about it. To those people who like to use the excuse of, no one asked me to turn on the camera, so I don't have to turn it on, I say this: turning on the camera is for you. It's not for anybody else. Mistake number 2, using shitty microphone in online meetings. If your microphone is bad, people cannot hear you or don't want to listen to you. A lot of people just use built-in microphone on their computer when they're in a virtual meeting. This built-in microphone can pick up a lot of background noise. Think about it. If your English is already a little bit shaky and now people are having trouble hearing you clearly, they probably will hear your kids yelling in the background, some kind of music in the background, construction noise outside. Then of course, they don't understand you. They can't even hear you clearly. And now communication becomes very frustrating, not only for you, but also for them. I've seen this happen so many times. If your microphone quality is bad, people kind of zone out, even if you're saying something really great. And the solution to the problem is very easy. You don't need a fancy microphone like this. You just need to use a headset with a microphone or anything that can avoid background noise, and always test it out before the meeting to make sure your voice can come through very clearly. Mistake number 3, relying on subtitles during meetings. A lot of people rely on subtitles because they're worried about their listening skills, and I really get it. Subtitles, I think, are really helpful when you don't understand most of what's being said. But if you can understand more than 70% of the meeting, subtitles are actually holding you back rather than helping you. They have short-term and long-term negative effects. Let's talk about both. In the short term, reading subtitles actually splits your attention. You might miss things you'd otherwise understand just by listening and focusing. One of my students was really nervous about turning off subtitles. She understood about 70% of what's being said in her meetings, but she was scared of missing the other 30%. I said to her, if you want to improve your listening, the first thing I want you to do is to turn off the subtitles for just 1 week. She was very hesitant and she didn't want to do it. She asked me a great question. She said, what if that 30% is so important that I miss something crucial? And I told her this. I said, I completely understand, but think of this as an experiment. And if there's a problem, if you really miss something important, we'll just reverse the decision. We can turn the subtitles back on. She said, okay, I'll give it a shot. After her first meeting without subtitles, she texted me right away and she said, Carrie, I couldn't believe it. I actually understood all of the meeting. And what's more amazing is that now, since I'm not looking at subtitles, I can focus on my clients and colleagues' facial expression and body language. I'm actually following better and can interact with them. So that is a great example. If you can focus on just listening and if you don't split your attention, you can actually understand much better. Now let's talk about the long-term problem. Subtitles will keep you from improving your listening skills. You need to focus on hearing what's being said in order to improve your listening. You cannot improve your listening by just reading subtitles. Plus, relying on subtitles means that you're not developing active listening skills. If you want to be a great colleague, a great leader, active listening is key. That means that you need to give your full attention to the person who's speaking. You need to pay attention to their body language, their facial expression, their tone, and that is called active listening. You have to pay attention. If you are reading the subtitles all the time, you won't be able to develop that skill. And P.S., if your camera is on and you are glued to the subtitles, not looking at people, what kind of impression are you giving to other people? And now some of you might be thinking, Carrie, my listening skills are terrible. I've tried everything and it's not getting better. That is a great question. In this video, I talked about the 9 most common mistakes professionals make when they're practicing listening. Check it out.